We
need a theme song.
Welcome to episode 18 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube, as always, with my co-host, Ben Wilson at our trading card, Stefan Loeffler at Junk Wax Twins. I'm Big Shep 79, Tim Shepler. We are a podcast by collectors for collectors, hoping to bring you a smart and insightful podcast tonight. Talking about trading cards. We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Coast time on YouTube. You can always follow us on Twitter at About the Cards, and find our podcast live always on iTunes and Stitcher. And make sure that you subscribe and review us and let us know how we're doing. And that way, when you subscribe to us on YouTube, you get a little notification that pops up that says, "Hey, About the Cards is live. Come check it out." I do want to give a quick shout out today to Each Revolt. Did a little 10-minute video talking about his top 4 podcasts he enjoys, and we made the list.
Hey,
so pretty awesome.
We're doing something.
I enjoyed that. The others were Mojo Break with the Hype, which yours truly has been on a couple weeks ago. Let me get that autograph. And our thoughts and good wishes are with Stu from that as he battles, some major medical things going on there. We had talked about doing a cross-branding shows at some time, and I think that's going to be put on hold for the moment. But our thoughts and good wishes go out to them, and then also Breaker Culture. So, a couple to check out and enjoy along with us. Hopefully, get the knowledge from everywhere. And I think that everybody presents a little bit different perspective on trading cards. But fellas, how are we doing this week?
We're doing better and great.
Yeah, you're about to lose your stuff there, like Steph. What's going on, bud?
Oh, I'm great.
Yeah.
I'm better than Stefan is and ever will be.
Debatable.
So right before we started, Ben had we had confessional before the show, and we always confess all of our cardboard sins. And mine was overspending on Garrett Hampstead, Topps Heritage Minor League, and Bowman Chrome cards this last week. And Ben, do you feel like sharing your confession?
I do. We have our good friend Brian Bice, who can be found at Bice Music. We've given him a couple of shout outs. And at the last show, he and I were carpooling down, met Tim for breakfast, had a great time, fantastic day. I think it was his first time going to a local card shop named Teammates in our area that we've mentioned before. And tomorrow is my son's first birthday, Jonathan. And we're celebrating this Saturday, which is also Brian's birthday. So happy birthday, Brian. I don't know how old you're turning, but we'll like everybody say, it's your anniversary of your 29th birthday.
For what it's worth, it's my dad's birthday yesterday. He's also
happy birthday, Stefan's dad. Look at this. Everybody's having a birthday this week.
Brian.
Yeah. So Brian's like, hey, at least you'll leave me some McGuire's. So full disclosure, I went on, my little jealous self went on eBay that day and bought 60 Mark McGuire cards, 87 tops that I did not need, bringing my total up to 346 plus an additional one that is graded and 3 Tiffany. And the only reason I bought those was because I was jealous that Brian gets to go to the card show and I do not.
Outstanding. Steph didn't have any confessions this week except for that he still likes hockey. So right. as we dive into this, we're going to get to the week that was last week's releases. And as always, we had Topps Living, but no update. So there were no statistical updates. I think they were overwhelmed with the amount of Evan Gattis cards they sold, and the number was so high that they couldn't calculate it. So hopefully we'll have that for you next week. As we remind you, it was JD Martinez of the Boston Red Sox, Francisco Mejia of the San Diego Padres, and Evan Gattis of the Houston Astros. We also had 2018 Panini Impeccable Football and 2018 Topps Gold Label last week. So this morning I was out and about and kind of away from my phone a little bit, and I got the notification of Topps Living as we hit hot off the press as this week's new releases with the Topps Living set, week 32 now for the October 17th through the 23rd here. Card number 64, Kristen Yelich, outfielder, Milwaukee Brewers. He's the third Brewer, and respectively so. He's had a great season, I think. Then our card number 95, Clayton Kershaw, pitcher, Los Angeles Dodgers. He's the 7th Dodger and the 2nd Dodger in 3 weeks. And card number 96, Ryan McMahon, first baseman, Colorado Rockies. He's the rookie this week. He's the 3rd Rocky. So, fellas, what are your thoughts on this week's all playoff teams? the Brewers and the Rockies get past that dreaded number 2 card. The Dodgers are up to 7. We still have the Diamondbacks and Tigers with 1 card each. What are your thoughts?
So Yelich naturally gets it because they'll probably end up winning the MVP this year. And Kershaw is a quote unquote living legend. See what I did there. But no, I'm not too surprised. There's a team that's overrepresented. There's a rookie. There's 2 veterans, and it seems like a kind of normal blasé week for Topps. None of the photos are really all that overwhelming.
McMahon doesn't have his hat.
It's just the glass is blinding the view. It just kind of takes away. It's kind of poor.
Yelich was compared to Butthead from Beavis
I saw
and
that.
Butthead.
Right. That made me giggle.
And Kershaw, well, that's the way Kershaw just looks. You can't really help that. And I know that our buddy, Cardboard Icons is probably going to pick up a couple because he's the Kershaw guy. So I'm going to pull this up. Steph has him here on his screen.
I picked up Kershaw. I picked up Yelich. I was on the border or on the fence. I'm not on the border. I was last night at Taco Bell.
You're not a restaurant.
No, I was on the fence with Yelich, and I was like, again, I think Tim brought this up a few weeks back when I was considering Votto. It's like, are you going to look back and say I should have had that card, assuming that they're all going to appreciate to the point where you can't afford them at some point? And I was like, for $4.79, cool. $10 bill got me both Kershaw and Yelich. Kid's going to have a fantastic career, so even if he's not a Hall of Famer, he's fun to watch, and he definitely should win the MVP this year. And Kershaw is, of course, an icon despite having a horrible windup.
Yeah. I think Kershaw sells everybody, but it's still going to be an under 6,000 week, I think, for everyone. Kershaw's the only one I could see getting maybe 6,100. But
same here.
As always, I'll pick up McMahon to go with the rest of my rookies. So guess what, fellas?
17
shots. 2017-18 Panini Immaculate Basketball comes out today, as yesterday was the tip-off of the 18-19 season. We still have more 17-18 product to come out because I still know Flawless is on check. And real quick, my favorite, Kershaw looks like an action photo with a tight crop. Yeah, I agree. It just looks weird, but it's his face too. So Immaculate Basketball is only around $600 a box. You're going to get 1 pack. You're going to have 5 cards per pack, and they're all going to be autographs or mem cards. There's a pseudo base set of 100 cards with 5 parallels, and there's 2 or 3 players per team. The rookie cards are going to be 101 through 140, and those are rookie patch autos, and then rookie patch autographs, jersey numbered. So that means they're numbered to their jersey. So if they were a 0, they were numbered to, I think, 10 is what they gave them. And then there's 20 autograph sets and 10 relic sets. I mean, we pulled it up here. Immaculate, it's what Immaculate is for all the other sports that we've covered. You're going to get some good patches and colors out of here. I know the logo mans are a big deal. In this, they have shoelace cards. They have shoe logos in here. There's one we're showing of Shaq when he was on the Heat. It just says Shaq as part of his shoe. There are a couple cool dual autographs with certain players. But, it's Immaculate. You're collecting it's a hit-based product. No one cares about the base or the numbered cards. They want the rookies. They want the autographs. They want those giant jumbo patches. So thoughts on more 17-18 basketball?
17-18.
Yeah, I mean, you're already into most of these teams have already played or are finishing up the first game of the new season. I mean, the cards are beautiful. I mean, Immaculate's one of my favorite Panini products.
Oh, yeah.
Sans the license, of course, as a baseball collector, but Immaculate's right up there with National Treasures, and it's awesome for basketball because they've got the license. But come on, it's on to 18-19. We this is getting tired.
I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. Just it's the same guys, Donovan Mitchell, Tatum, Fultz, Ball, all those guys are in there. So check it out if you want. Always breaks available. 2018 Topps 5-Star Baseball came out today. $140 a box. You're getting 1 pack and 2 cards per pack, and they're both autographs. The base set's really just on base autographs. There's 77 cards. Each of those have 6 parallels. Good Lord, 6 parallels. 8 autograph sets. One of my favorites was the 5-star cut signature sets. We talk about cuts. They're all one of 188 baseball players with the likes of Jackie Robinson, as we show here, Joe DiMaggio, Jim Catfish Hunter, and Roberto Clemente. There's also 10 celebrities in there, and a few notable ones were Arnold Palmer, Johnny Cash, and Wilt Chamberlain. So, like, go back. They had they showed a card. It was Ricky Henderson with the Seattle Mariners.
Saw that today. That came out. Yeah.
So, I mean, a little bit different. I've never been a fan of 5-star, to be honest. The cards themselves, I don't know. They kind of look a lot like some of the other stuff that comes out from Topps on the higher end. And
Triple Threads is coming out soon. I would save my money for Triple Threads. I tweeted a couple times today about the absurd prices that people are expecting. I mean, 5-star, it's higher end. It always comes out at the end of the year, right before Christmas. It's a nice product, but come on, the prices are just asinine. What some of these sellers are expecting, and I went back and forth with an eBay seller earlier through Twitter, and he wanted twice as much as I valued the cards at, and he's like, "Well, we can meet in the middle." It's like, no, you're still 50% higher than I'm willing to spend. I mean,
well, when you're spending you're spending $140 a box, you're expecting both cards were $70, right? I mean, you're getting 2 cards. Do the math: 2 into 140, 70.
That's not how this works. Oh. Again, it goes back to the internal rate of return. If you think that we are paying because you lost your ass on this product, that's not how that works. Yeah. You can't. You take the guy who gets the old beater car and puts all of his blood, sweat, and tears, all of his weekend money, and he buys stuff online or at the junkyards because he can't buy down the prices, by buying in volume. And he all of a sudden wants to sell his $8,000 car for $15 because that's what he has into it. It's like, sorry, man, it's only an $8,000 car at the end of the day. I don't care what you spend on these. Some of these cards are only $7 to $10. That's all they're ever going to be. Sorry. I'm not paying $30 for a Dustin Fowler because you need to get your money back. Yeah. It's a $10 to $12 card. Period. I saw Whit
Trout or Shohei.
Yeah, I saw Whit Merrifield today for $100, and I'm like, man, did I don't know what came out of that box with it that you were smoking, but I saw Chris Davis for $150, and I'm just like, I needed this good belly laugh today. Thank you, eBay sellers.
Yeah. No, my so speaking of, we'll get that to later, but about Brent and his unblocking an eBay seller, and oh my god, that's fun if we have time. Also coming out this week, 2018 Panini Phoenix football comes out today. Not the Phoenix Cardinals. This is $112 a box, and you're getting 12 packs and 5 cards per pack. Now these cards are sharp, my friend.
Oh yeah.
They do for a $112 box. These cards look pretty cool. You're getting 2 autographs, a mem card, 9 inserts, 12 parallels, and 12 rookies. So it looks like you're getting a parallel and rookie per pack. You almost get an insert per pack. Lots of color and design to these cards.
Okay, who gave me some of what Canada has?
You have 200 card base set, which 9 parallels though. So enjoy going after that big giant rainbow. The first 100 cards are vets. The second 100 are rookies, which is pretty cool. They have 100 rookies in this set. 5 autograph sets, 3 relic, and 5 insert. This is a good looking. This might be the base set that I would like. This might be the set I would collect.
The premier base set.
Yeah, I mean, it's got these. They have color burst parallels like red and pink, and I mean they have all the colors of the rainbow you could build. The checklist is all good stars, good design to the card, a lot of angles and lines and colors that they used. What are your thoughts? I think this might be the best, like around $100 release that Panini's had this year.
Easily.
For football.
Yeah, some of these designs look really gorgeous, and the checklist definitely backs that up.
Yeah, I mean they have retired signatures in here. Not that you're getting a ton of those guys in there to mix in with the rookie, so you're not just the constant barrage of rookie autographs.
Right.
They're well numbered. You're not having super high end numbered cards in this as far as the autographs, which is really neat. but I think this is one. This could be a little sleeper product this year. Fortunately, I didn't get to see any breaks today. I'm gonna try to do that tomorrow and take a look and might even experience one myself. So,
yeah, it's like Steph said. There's a good blend, but the cards look nice. The patterns. I think a lot like Topps Fire for baseball. Some of the designs aren't probably going to hit their mark with certain collectors. But it's good to see that it's not the same old blah products time and time again.
Yeah.
Anytime you go off the street a little bit, off the freeway and take a side road, there's gonna be some people that are probably gonna kind of, give you a little bit of backlash, maybe not collect, but it's a good value product at the very least. So if you're a football collector, and whenever you get a chance to get veterans along with rookies, I know rookies are always going to rue the day, but to me, it's nice to have that opportunity of pulling a guy that there's not a lot of product out for, because I think, all three of us are the same kind of guy. We like to collect first and foremost, and I'd much rather pull a veteran from the 70s, 80s, or 90s than just another Barkley or Darnold or something that's great and it's good value, and you're going to get probably a decent return if you chose to sell it, but,
No, definitely. I think it's one to look at. And so now we're getting to the reason we kind of like moved pretty quick on those early ones. 2018 Topps Updates series baseball comes out on Monday. It's supposed to come out today. I was a little disappointed. I was hoping to get to experience it on Wednesday and open some packs and give you my experience, as I always love to pick up a few boxes. So you have jumbo box that's going to come out about $125. You're getting 10 packs, 50 cards per pack. And you should, if you're buying it from an LCS or some of the online retailers, 2 silver packs, which have always been fun, which have the 83 design. You're going to get 1 autographed card and 2 relics. Usually one's a manufactured relic. Then you also have the hobby box for around $63. You're getting 36 packs, 10 cards per pack, and should get 1 silver there. And you're going to get one hit. You're going to get 1 autograph or relic there. You're also going to go, though, they guaranteed 3 rainbow foils in there, and those are pretty popular with the team collectors. So update is always one to collect, and we're getting a little more detail here. 300 base cards, 11 parallels. So this is the ginormous rainbow to build. There are variation short prints that will be included as the gets open. So we'll talk about that probably more on Wednesday of next week. There are about 70 rookies in this set. Funny enough, we've talked about this. We asked some folks at Topps. Did not hear back before we got on the air tonight. Real quick, there was a question in the chat. What is in the silver pack? So it's a handful. It's like 4 1983 version like silver chrome cards that come out, and it's usually a 100 card set. And there are autographs randomly inserted in there. They did that with series 1 and 2, but this is a new 100 card set, so they're pretty awesome. So card number 1 is Shohei Ohtani. He's card number 700 in series 2, and he's listed as a pitcher and a hitter on there. We figured this might be and it's him pitching. We figured this might be him hitting. Don't know. We'll see. Card number 12, US 12 here's update series. Miles Mikolas of the Cardinals had a really good season after pitching in Japan. Came over. Just kind of a neat headliner. Card 130 is Austin Meadows. He's actually on the Rays in this one. I think this is going to be his first Rays rookie card. 200 card number 200 is Gleyber Torres, who was a short print rookie in series 2. I think he was card 299 or 699. Card 250 is Ronald Acuna, who was card 698 as a short print in Series 2. So our question to Topps was, well, why do these guys from Series 2 have now rookies in update? And they're not the rookie debuts, because these guys will have those, but they're actually listed as a rookie card. So that's my question, is what makes them different? What makes them more collectible? We're going to get into this. Card number 69, Francisco Meja of the Padres, and card 300, Juan Soto's rookie card is in there. The last card I really want to mention is card 155, Brad Ziegler. He's a big-time collector, just retired after 11 years in the major leagues. That will be his final base card. He does TTMs. I've gotten a few from him. But just a little shout-out to Brad on a great career from someone that didn't think he was going to last more than a year or two, and he spent 11 seasons in major leagues, which is one hell of an accomplishment. But, guys, Ohtani, Torres, and Acuna have been driving this hobby this year. along with Soto, but Soto, this is going to be his first rookie card. Why in the heck are they having second rookie cards? I understand 2 were short prints, but they were still listed as rookie cards, and they were still basically 1 per case. You could pull them from packs, and they weren't from a special box or anything like that. Ohtani was pack pulled and regular issue. What's going on?
It's I think a combination of tops being tops. Technically, Jumbo's a different set, although most people feel it's essentially just. And as someone pointed out in the chat, they did the same with Judge, which was a point I was about to get to. But it's something that Topps kind of does that they view it as a separate set, whereas us collectors view it as Series 3 or 4 if you consider opening day, but nobody does. So
opening day is not a set, dude.
But you would think that MLB would crack down on it, especially after they changed the rules in 06, 05,
yeah,
07, somewhere in there.
Yeah, because it affected Alex Gordon.
Right, 06 then. But maybe they need to take another look at it the next time the CBA comes up.
Well, it's confusing enough to us veteran collectors and box breakers, and the people like Brent Williams and Chris Torres that open a lot of product probably have how do I list this, because it's a rookie card, but it's really the second one of the year. Yeah, if you're brand new, we talked about Bowman in a past podcast and how confusing that can be. If you're brand new and you pull an Ohtani from a pack of update, are you pulling his rookie card when we know that there's already one that exists from the flagship group of 3? It's just one more thing to look at and kind of shake your head and go, come on. It's okay to include them, absolutely okay to include them in the set, but to consider it a rookie card, it just adds more fuel to the come on, thanks, Topps.
Yeah. No, that's my thing. So which one do you collect? I mean, the short prints were a little hard to pull, and now that Acuna's going for crazy money, it's around $70 or $80. Update's always been one of those sets, though, this might be, and Brent Williams said this earlier, as I know we're on the Brent count here, so those 3 and 4. This might be one of the best update sets in the last 3 or 4 years. And my question was, can it compete with 11? Okay.
Definitely has
the potential
to.
I mean, 11's loaded Trout, Altuve, Hosmer, Goldschmidt, Brandon Crawford. You have Moustakas is in there. Charlie Blackmon, JD Martinez. There's like 10 or 12 guys in there in 11 update. It's insane.
We're not going to know for another couple of years, give another 4 or 5 years to know whether or not it rivals 2011. But if you're collecting, it definitely is the most intriguing probably since 2011, at least over the last handful of years. So if you're prospecting, if you are ever going to think about putting this stuff together and grabbing it, now would be the time to grab it when it's fresh, either whether you're hand collating a set or if you're, if you just go buy one from Brant or Chris or anybody that puts one together.
Yeah. So
this is one of those sets that I was thinking about breaking myself to stash it so that I can sell it to a friend a couple of years later, but also keeping an unopened box.
Yeah. So my thing is on this is that I think we've talked about this before. So my son was born in April, and I bought a hobby box of Series 1 and 2, and a factory set, and I've set those aside for him. And I'm actually going to buy 2 jumbos, one for myself to build a set and one to build his set, and then buy a third, just a hobby box to set aside. But my thought is do I start just kind of buying a couple of these hobby boxes or jumbo boxes and just stashing them away for the next 3 or 4 years in case something really takes off out of this, and the $65 investment of a hobby box or the $125 investment of a jumbo doubles in 3 or 4 years.
But see, if you do it that way, knowing your luck, the top hit out of the box is going to be a redemption.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not going to open them and turn around and sell those sealed boxes. So,
no, of course not.
Yeah.
But that's something to be wary of if you're going to go that route.
Yeah. That is definitely a possibility because they will not honor them because rules and laws. But also, guys, in this set, there's 10 autographs. It's over 10 autograph sets. The most popular one's probably the 83 autograph set. There were 5 relic sets. A lot of all-star jerseys are going to be cut up in this. And there's 9 insert sets, and my favorite's the 83 All-Star, the 35th anniversary set. That's going to be cool. Ben, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, to buy a box and put it away, you're really speculating and prospecting, and that's what everyone has to ask themselves is, how am I collecting? I thought about it today. Should I buy this set and put it on my shelf with all my other 1980s and 1990 sets because I don't have a 2011? Should I buy the 2018? But it's like I have so much other stuff on my list to buy. I made a huge personal purchase this week, and I'm already going to have to give up some money to get all the update sets. I don't know that I have it in the budget, but I still have to ask myself, in the next week or two, is this a set I need to grab? Because if it is, if we think it's going to mirror 2011, so we'll all have to ask ourselves that. Do you want to put something away for a rainy day? Yeah, but then what if it's not? So.
Yeah. You're talking, to be honest, if you go online to buy one of these, you're looking at the cost of a blaster and a half, $30 to $40, maybe 2 blasters to put a set away potentially that could be worth, a few hundred in the next year. It's not ever going to get really below that $30 price point, to be honest, long term. If you look at update sets in the last 10 years, it's one of the sets that's really held its value just because of the rookies that are in there. Even if it is a bad rookie year, it still holds its value because it's not. They don't make factory sets of it. So you can't go out to Target, Walmart, your hobby store, and pick up a pre-made set. You had to open the product to make the set. They didn't print additional cards to put the set in a box and sell it somewhere else. So they don't have as many printed, hopefully, as you do with Series 1 and 2. Just the thought behind it.
And I have it paused on the screen. One of the interesting things I saw from the actual checklist, they have the SP short print photo variation autographs listed on the actual checklist and on the PDF that they have on their website. Normally they don't put this on there because that's giving away who these short print cards are.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying that these are the short print cards or the super short print cards, but it's really interesting. I think this may be the first time they've given it away ahead of time what short print and super short print cards are, regardless of if it's the autograph parallel.
It's smart to release it early because although there's something to say the element of surprise, again you're pulling customers in. If I see that there's 3-4 A's in there, and I'm on the fence as to whether or not I should put a set together, maybe now would be a time to say, hey, maybe I should buy a box or two of update, hand collate a set, maybe try to grab these short prints and super short prints. So there's something to be said for that. You might be drawing in more customers.
Yeah, and usually with the jumbo box, you can complete a full set with a jumbo box. I haven't had an issue with that in the last 4 or 5 years myself, but
I think I've needed like a pack or two, but usually you get 90% of the set.
Yeah. So we also have 2018 Topps Now Taco Bell Steal a Base, Steal a Taco cards, and those are coming out next week. They're an exclusive set of Taco Bell's World Series promotion with the free tacos if a player steals a base. Yep. So there's already 6 cards in the set of the past taco heroes, as they're calling them. Players who stole bases and earned America some free tacos during the World Series since the promotion began. So the 7th card, which can be redeemed through the Topps website within 24 hours of the first base of the 2018 World Series being swiped. So these are the 7 cards. Assuming one does. Jacoby Ellsbury of the Boston Red Sox from 07. Jason Bartlett of the Tampa Bay Rays in 8. Angel Pagan of the San Francisco Giants 2012. Lorenzo Cain of the Royals from 15. Francisco Lindor of the Indians in 16. Cameron Maybin of the Astros in 17. And then if there is one this year. So these sets will be available on the 23rd next week, which I think is Tuesday. Right?
Yep.
Tuesday next week. And they're only going to be in the cities, I believe, that are hosting a World Series game. So right now we're to Boston, LA, Houston, and Milwaukee. And as Boston's up 6-5 in the top of the 7th here.
Starting October 23rd, the Topps baseball cards will be available at select restaurants near the stadiums of the eventual World Series participants. Packs with all 6 cards plus the redemption come special cap plus the redemptions come special caps. Restaurants will be selling. That's not grammatically. Wow. Sorry, Ryan. Let me just copy that.
and I want one of those hats.
Yeah,
But
those hats are really
it'd
cool
be
looking.
interesting because I'm gonna want the cane and the Pagan out of this, so I'm gonna be flying to Milwaukee because the Brewers are gonna pull this one out. So, what are you guys' thoughts? Just adding some more promos to drive people to eat some more Taco Bell?
Yeah, I think this set works better than what they tried to do with the Walmart pizza brand set thing that came out a few years back. And not so much because more people eat Taco Bell because that's just warranted, but with the World Series in that city, it just makes sense.
Yep. So we'll move on to what's brewing next week's releases. So it's been released, but it's not been released. 2018 Topps Archives Baseball comes out next week on the 24th. So Monday we have update. Wednesday we're gonna have archives. I got a show on I got a show Saturday on the 20th. I'm gonna have to sell my son, my wife, and some other things to be able to go through all this. I already have about half the update sets from just buying some blasters here and there, but I'm excited. I'm more excited about Stranger Things coming out. 2018 Panini Prism Football. This is going to be a good football. It's to collect. It's for those chromies. 18-19 guys. NBA Panini NBA Hoops basketball comes out. Hoops is always a fun brand. I mean, it's similar to like Score for football.
Right.
2018 Panini Flawless Baseball comes out on Friday the 26th. And then 2018 Leaf Autograph Full-Size Helmet was supposed to come out this week. It got pushed back, looks like, to next Friday. So I'm excited. I mean, there's some nice releases next week, but God, man, when Stranger Things comes out.
When is that coming out?
I think it's supposed to be November.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to get crazy. That's going to be awesome. I'm just letting you know. That is going to be awesome. That show I love that show. Yeah, those kids, and if it only goes a couple seasons, I'm fine with it, but it's been awesome. I want to move into Infield chatter, our hobby talk section. We threw out some polls this week on most collectible franchises, least collectible franchises, and I think I did a pretty good job with the hockey teams, the hockey franchises there, but we will get there. As I get a little snicker there from the Canadian. Most collectible NBA or MLB franchises of all time. So we had 57 votes. I listed the Red Sox, Cubs, and Yankees, and I had others. And the Red Sox got 14% of the vote. The Cubbies had 12. Others had 11. And some of the teams mentioned were the Mets, the Reds, and the Giants. But of course, the Yankees came out on top with 63% of the vote. That's who I would have picked. I mean, you just look. You just start with Ruth. And you end with Judge and everybody in between.
2 words, Mickey Mantle. That's all it comes down to. The other franchises don't have Mantle. I mean, Ruth, because of the fact that it's all pre-war and so expensive.
62
I mean,
tops.
He's got a lot. Yeah, he's got the Babe Ruth, what is that, set of 5, was it? From 62? Mantle's the driving force of this hobby. He'll always be the godfather of the hobby. The other franchises, as collectible as they might be, don't have a Mantle. They just don't.
Yeah.
And I don't think that you'll ever have another one.
So Ted Williams is not Mickey Mantle?
Well, not from the collecting perspective. I mean, I'm not saying Mantle was the greatest player of all time.
But
we're just talking about collectability. Mantle, has got the iconic 52 and the 53, 51 Bowman. I mean, Ted Williams, again, is kind of a victim of Jimmy Fox and Lou Gehrig and so many guys that played the majority of their career prior to, 51. I mean, if you're a pre-51 guy, and a lot of these franchises had, Cobb and Ruth, Gehrig, Williams, all these guys. Sorry, and yeah, they're still collectible today in products, but it's not the same.
I mean, you just list Mantle real quick, Jeter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, right? Currently, Judge. I mean, he's in any prospect that has a Yankees logo on it instantly gets bumped up 25%.
Yeah,
instantly.
Yeah, and
especially
the Giants,
they play in a position and they're not a pitcher instantly.
And that's the thing is like the Giants have 2.0 and Willie Mays, whose career ran simultaneously with Mantle and was a better overall player. and he lost 52 and part of 53 or all of 53, so his stats would have been even better.
Yeah.
But if we did a Excel spreadsheet across the top and you listed Mantle and Mays and where's Aaron, and who's our Chicago Cub that would be the most iconic? Banks. or Sandberg?
Banks.
And then you go to that second level. Okay, so who's right below Mantle? If you're going to put, say, Jeter, and you go to the next, the Giants, whether it's McCovey or Bonds, you keep going down. At some point, the Yankees are going to have 30, 40 names deep, and they're going to smoke the competition. The Red Sox might end at a dozen. The Cubs might end at a dozen. We're talking about true collectability. My team, the A's, we're going to run about 7 or 8 deep, and that's it.
And those guys are too deep.
Who are?
Royals. We'll run 2 deep. Brett and Bo Jackson.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that there aren't other collectible favorites for each of us. But yeah, once you get past McGuire and Canseco and Jackson and Henderson, Fingers, Eckersley, now you start to get into
But is Eckersley collectible as an A? Because you're talking 87 tops. 87 tops traded would have been his first.
There's a lot of stuff that is coming out right now.
Okay.
And that's the thing is, when you talk about historically speaking, when you go back, he's not on the same level of whatever Yankee is ranked 6th.
Yeah.
And if Fingers is my 5th best Oakland A as far as collectability, dude, the Yankees 25th guy is going to be on the same par as. It'd be like, say Y.E. Ford up against Raleigh Fingers. Come on. And Ford is the 24th and Fingers is the 5th. You're going to get that across the board. Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
So most collectible NFL franchises of all time. We only had 12 votes here. Listed the Dallas Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and others. Others received 0 votes. The Cowboys came in, the Packers came in with 25%. The Cowboys 33%, and the Steelers were 42% of the votes. I picked the Steelers, and it was just based on the guys from the set, just the different eras where they had the 70s and even like the 90s and the current team. They just had been in so many Super Bowls, and they're so playoff relevant, and their players just very well known. Who'd you guys have gone with?
So kind of went with the same route because I certainly wasn't voting for the Packers, and Dallas, we got the Hail Mary push off. So not that we didn't lose to the Steelers in a Super Bowl, I believe, but
he's talking as a Vikings fan. Everyone,
a little bit. No, I just can't. You can't stand to vote for the Packers, and I don't think they have the history the Steelers do.
The Packers are top heavy. Right. The guys that are collectible, which is Favre and Rodgers. Who's your number 3? They're top heavy. The Cowboys are a little deeper, but they're still top heavy. The Steelers are in bunches. You have all the 70s, you have the 90s guys, and now you've got the triple Bs of now. I think if you're doing this blend of kind of like we were talking about just in the new release segment, you're doing a blend of new and old. That Steelers checklist is going to run so much deeper. The Cowboys might be a number 2, but they're going to be like the Yankees to the Red Sox, Yankees to the Cubs. They're going to be smoked at some point. Personally, that's why I voted for the Steelers.
And I love it was hard. I went back and forth with the Packers and the Niners. Montana and Rice and Lott from the 80s and Young. But really outside of those guys, they haven't had a real impactful player in a while.
No, some of their great players lately, the team that went to the Super Bowl back in 2012 was defense. Bowman and Willis and Justin Smith, and those guys just aren't as collectible. Their quarterback was Kaepernick, and before that, their big quarterback was Garcia.
Yeah, the first pick in Alex Smith. Yeah, J.T. O'Sullivan.
Jim Druckenmiller.
His claim to fame was he could bench with the linemen. And
his claim to fame was being on the receiving end of Kevin Green's headbutt when Kevin Green had no helmet.
Most collectible NBA franchises of all time, and I had to leave my Kings off as they're up right now. They were last time I saw up at halftime. This only got 10 votes with the Boston Celtics, Chicago Bulls, Los Angeles Lakers, and others. The Celtics only received 10%. The Bulls 30%. MJ's carrying them there for sure, and the Lakers were 50%. The others had 10, and led by there was one comment, the Knicks, and I sent a comment back like, who's collectible on the Knicks, and
Patrick
like
Ewing.
crickets.
You see, this is one where it's almost the exact like the 180 of baseball, where the name is Mickey Mantle for the Yankees. The name in basketball is Michael Jordan, but that's where the list stops. It is the list. He's the iconic collector, collectability player, but the Lakers have the depth. I mean, when you talk about Mount Rushmore of the Lakers, there's a pretty. I mean, look at LeBron's there now. Who are you gonna knock off? You knocking off Magic? You knocking off, Kareem, Worthy, Shaq, Kobe,
Elgin Baylor,
Jerry
if you're
West,
gonna
the logo,
the logo.
West.
I mean, if
Bob
you're putting
Madden,
LeBron,
you also
you
have
put
Bob
LeBron on the
McAdoo
top four.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
George Mikan.
which one are you? Yeah, which one are you knocking off?
None.
But see, that's the thing is
If you just
LeBron's gonna have.
centers, if you just went centers, Mikan, Chamberlain, Shaq, and Kareem.
Yeah,
I mean,
but some
that's
of them should have stayed in Minneapolis, but not bitter.
Yeah, there's no answer other than the Lakers. And that doesn't take anything away from Boston. It's just, and of course you got Jordan, who's the most iconic of all. But the Lakers just run so deep that if you were a Laker fan and you're getting into the hobby, you've got 20 guys that you could PC.
I think if you were to run a poll on individual players from those franchises, the Bulls would obviously have the higher votes.
Oh, no doubt about it.
One singular.
2,000%.
But that's one of those things where Jordan's one, and then there's the Lakers are pretty much. It's kind of like the Beatles when they had the top of the charts in the mid '60s. 1 through 10 literally was pick a Beatles song. Right. Same kind of thing with the Lakers. Is Jordan's 1, and the Lakers are 2 through 10.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty darn close.
And then, so we went most collectible NHL franchise of all time. We had 39 votes. This is for Ken. We're getting hockey involved. I listed the Detroit Red Wings, Edmonton Oilers, Montreal Canadiens, and then others. Others received 6 votes, but nobody noted who they voted for. Maybe the Blackhawks, Sharks.
Blackhawks would have been a good vote. Boston, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, I didn't think that the team that got won this poll would have won. Edmonton came in 15%. And I just thought because they've had Gretzky and McDavid,
yep.
That would have really pushed them up. The Montreal, the banners speak for themselves. They were at 33%. The Red Wings, 46% of the vote. And I knew they were really good in the late 90s, and they had a nice little playoff. Really kind of been like the Spurs, right, of the NHL. There, they had a good long run. But is this surprising to you, Steph?
Not entirely. I mean, some of it, I'm not calling out our listeners or whatnot, but you think that recency bias applies a little bit to even all of these polls. But the Red Wings do have a good chunk of history. One of the original 6. I would have thought Edmonton would have finished up higher just because Gretzky and their current roster is stacked. But no, not entirely surprised. I mean, all 3 of those teams are great. And it was me that voted for the Wild on the others.
Oh. They have such a stupid name. They can't be iconic, by the way.
I was kind of torn as a non-hockey fan. I figured Montreal because they're like the most iconic franchise to the casual, sports fan. Sure. That's where I voted. Since 1997, if you count all 122 franchises across sports, winning percentage-wise, the Spurs have the highest winning percentage, followed by the Detroit Red Wings. So it shows you that more modern-day collectors might choose Detroit, where long-term older collectors, more historical ones, might go with Montreal. But if we're just looking over the snapshot of the last 2 decades, Detroit's going to get a lot of run. Not to say that they don't have a history as well, but they've been so dominant over the last couple of decades, at least
those
percentage-wise.
Teams in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, that team was absolutely loaded.
Yeah, the Heisman teams.
Yeah, if you're a sports video game collector or fan, play video games, Detroit Red Wings are always ranked, overall in the high 80s, low 90s.
Pittsburgh was also a thought for me too because of Lemieux, Yager, and Crosby. So kind of surprised there they didn't get any votes. So we go to least collectible MLB franchise. And I messed up, guys. I forgot one. I was sitting there thinking of a third team. I had 2 picked out, and the third team is so forgettable that I didn't even put them on the list. So we had 65 votes here. We listed the Miami Marlins, the Milwaukee Brewers, Texas Rangers, and others. Now, the Brewers were a last-second thought because I couldn't even think of the Tampa Bay Rays because they are that forgettable. Well, we've talked about how we've only found one collector of the Rays on Twitter.
Who will admit to being a collector.
Yes. So the Brewers only received 9%, and sorry, Brewers fans, I am pulling for you to go to the World Series and win it this year. But we also had the Rangers at 11%. The others got 15%, and teams named Rays were named a couple times. The Mariners, the Tigers, and even the Seattle Pilots got mentioned by Brian Bice there. But the Marlins, 65% said they are the least collectible franchise of all time.
I mean, they get shafted by Jeter. They don't really have – I mean, they had the World Series runs, but they didn't really draft their players from within as much. It's not like Houston or maybe even the Cubs this year.
Yeah.
There's mostly transplants.
Well, Chris Torres is
Boggs.
Chris Torres is saying the Mariners all the way, but I mean, you have Griffey and A-Rod and Johnson all came up with those with that team, so that makes them, at least with Griffey, makes them a little more collectible than the Marlins or the Rays, I believe.
I think the biggest problem with the Marlins is, like Steph said, okay, so your 1997 championship team was mostly veteran transplants, Sheffield, and all the other guys that, I mean, they were what, 5 years old at that point? And then when did they win again? They won in 03.
And they built, that was all the players they got from trading away all those guys from 97.
Yeah. Right. And then they immediately traded all those guys, all the Josh Beckett's and Miguel Cabreras. I mean,
Don Trevor eventually.
To me, it's like, all right, so we were talking in a private chat today about the new Marlins logo, and apparently they're releasing it next month. And the 3 options that we saw were hideous. And it's like the Marlins management, ownership, when Wayne Huizenga was there, it almost feels like they literally hate their fans.
Right.
Huizenga hated them, Loria hated them, now Jeter seems to be. It's like they hate him.
I'm petitioning though for that big sculpture they're getting rid of to be moved. I liked all the franchises, like the Omaha Storm Chasers said, hey, we can take it. They need to move it to Oakland and just put it in the middle of center field, so that way that Chris Davis can play in front of it. And then if it hits it or goes over, then it's a home run. But therefore, Davis can catch it and throw back into the infield.
You always got to dig on Davis, don't you?
Yeah. We're pulling up the stuff has the logos here real quick. This is my favorite one when you're showing it. It's just a black script M with with a marlin, with like that blue marlin, and then a white half. There's 2 colors. The second one here is just a standard M with a marlin, and it's all navy, a lot of navy blue, a little teal involved. Not my favorite. And then the other one is a similar, just stock M, which is orange, which is like a dark orange with the marlin that's in a couple of different blue colors.
So you can't get any worse than what it is now. So there's nowhere to go.
And they had such a good logo.
I love their 90s logo.
When in 93, we added in my little league, we added 2 because our city got bigger. So they added 2 teams to the majors division that year. One of them was the Marlins. Everyone wanted to be on that team because they wanted that teal hat with that cool new logo. And man, there was a huge fight on the Marlins, and I mean, just how neat. And then it was just a different look for baseball because, most of baseball is like a navy and gray and white. And, if you look at all the teams that use navy in Major League Baseball, I mean, it's a good majority of them. I mean, blue is a special color. When you had like the Dodgers and the Royals, they're blue, and the Mets and the Brewers, there's so much blue, but they came out this teal color, and it was like, oh. And then they had pinstripes, and you were like, oh, okay, so they're pulling from the Yankees. They got this new color. It was exciting to see. And then when that logo came out, when they became Miami, it was just like, what kind of weird Havana, Miami nightclub or theme are they going for here?
Well, and I, similar to you, I guess when they were officially announced as being the 29th or 27th or 28th Major League team. The Marlins trained at the Twins spring training facilities. Mind you, I was too young to know this, but I remember the people talking about it once they were actually making their World Series runs that, well, they came through our farm system. Well, kind of. Sure. But that hat's actually one of the non-Twins ones that I have just because of that. And if they could bring that back, that'd be a much better option than whatever they're proposing. If these mock-ups are legit.
Yeah.
Back to the basics. Just swap out Florida for Miami. Don't get too wild with it, and just try to sell. That we're going back to, our what roots we have. I mean, I know they've only been around for
roots.
Yeah, I mean, they've been around for what, 25, 30 years now.
Yeah,
close to 30.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just
actually 25, right? Yeah,
25. Mm-hmm. So collectability wise, this team is. There's just no incentive. They don't have any of those iconic players because they are babies still. As far as
Gary Sheffield,
that's I mean, who would you collect?
Mike
Cabrera's like
Carlos Stanton,
Dontrell Willis.
Well, Cabrera's like the one that came up as a Marlin, but he really exploded as a star once he went to Detroit.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing is you don't have that 7, 8, 9 year player. I mean, at least Colorado has Todd Helton, and now they've got Arenado.
Yeah.
Where's your Marlin guy that
And you can almost count Cargo with the Rockies. I know he had a little cup of coffee with the A's, but
yeah, see, and that's the thing is the Marlins had Fernandez. Unfortunately, he passed away at a very young age, and Stanton, and then of course they blew up the outfield last year, or during this offseason.
Right.
So they've had stars, but they don't have that iconic guy that you can say that's our guy.
I want to do it.
So yeah, it's just at least the Rays had Longoria. The Rays had Archer.
David Price.
Yeah, maybe Florida's just not a very good collecting for baseball.
Who was it the Rays had? And Tim, you probably know who I'm talking about.
Delman Young.
No.
Josh Hamilton.
Pitcher, late 90s, blew out his shoulder on the mound, came back. Tony Saunders.
Oh, Juan Brazelton. Yeah, Saunders. Yeah, he had it.
Came back and then blew out his shoulder again.
I think he had a bunch of arm problems. Look, lefty. He was good. He was good for a minute. Yeah. The Juan Brazelton was going to be their savior. Remember?
Toe Nash.
Toe Nash. Oh, you have not know. Look up Toe Nash, folks. Least collectible NFL franchises of all time. 20 votes here. Arizona Cardinals, Houston Texans, Jacksonville Jaguars, and others. The others received 5%, but nobody listed who they voted for. Houston Texans had 5%. Arizona Cardinals had 35%. And Jacksonville leading the way with 55%. So we're just hating on Florida Teal teams.
Apparently.
Yeah. So
it would have been interesting if you'd listed the Browns.
Yeah, that was a thought too. But I was just starting at least they had like Jim Brown and to collect. I mean, he came to mind.
That's not your franchise. Or is it?
Yeah, it is because
they've had so many. They've had so many quarterbacks since '99. I mean, they've had a lot of guys to collect.
You can collect Tim Couch and you can collect Johnny Manziel.
Yep.
Just Trevor.
That's the thing is, I mean, they've had so many quarterbacks that because football's a quarterback-driven product, and they've had like 22 guys to select from.
Yeah. I mean just since '99.
Yeah, just since '99. That doesn't even include Testaverde and Bernie.
Brian Sipe, Greg Cook. Oh, no, he was a Bengal. I'm sorry.
It's funny is if you were to name all 32 teams, all right, you're writing them down, and most of us would probably go by division. But to me, the Arizona Cardinals are like the least forgettable or most forgettable team. I can't stand watching their games. That whole NFC West is putrid. I don't care. If they come on and it's any combination of those four teams, I can't stand.
You don't enjoy watching the Rams play this year?
This year, sure, I'm back in the 90s, but I'm saying if the Rams are playing the 49ers, they're playing the Seahawks, they're playing the Cardinals. If anybody's playing the Cardinals, I'm taking a nap on Sunday afternoon. At least the Jaguars have had some talent. and I love their colors.
Yeah, but
Right.
name one guy out of the history of the Jags you'd collect.
See, and that's the other thing too is the Jaguars, much like their counterparts out there in Tampa and Miami, they haven't been around that long. You know, they came around what 95 with the
95.
Panthers.
95,
You
yeah.
know, so they've had Burnell, they've had Fred Taylor, they've had McCardle and Jimmy Smith. They've had some players, but this is more indicative of the fact that we were talking about that too. That football, it just doesn't appreciate.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not a very sustainable. People collect it, sure, but year over year, it's not as collectible as some of the other sports.
Brunel and Fred Taylor.
Yep. Brian Leftwich.
Tony Baselli.
Tony, but that's my man right there. I love Tony Baselli. All right, so least collectible NBA franchises, and this one of all time. This one hurt me because I had to put them on.
Timberwolves.
17 votes. I listed the LA Clippers, New Jersey Nets, and my Sacramento Kings, and others. Just because the Kings have been so down the last decade. They had one good run since they've been in Sacramento, and pretty much one good run in their whole franchise history, and they even won a championship in '51 back in Rochester. And my family had season tickets the year it started and the last year that they made actually 1 year after they missed the playoffs. So I saw a lot of good Kings games and actually saw LeBron's first game. That's how important the Sacramento Kings were at one time in the NBA. LeBron's debut game was not in Cleveland. It was not in LA. It was not in Boston. It was not in New York. It wasn't in Chicago. It was in Sacramento, California. And I was there, which actually was October 29th, 2003. So the Kings had 29% of the votes. The Nets had 29% of the votes. And the Clips, like always, with the top pick, 41%.
Wrong.
I didn't list the Timberwolves because, you have Garnett and Pooh Richardson.
But legit,
Toronto was the team I was debating back with the Nets. It was the Toronto Raptors and the Nets. But I thought Vince Carter kind of pushed up because his rookie stuff, and McGrady would have pushed up, and Damon Stoudemire would have pushed him up, and then DeRozan. So they had some guys I could see. The Nets, think about the Nets history. Not real bright. I know there's some Dr. J in there, but
they got Derek Coleman and Kenny Anderson. These aren't names that spark
excitement.
Let me go get a catalog of his cards. The number one answer is the Sacramento Kings, and I'm gonna tell you why real quick. Is I helped run a local card shop here a few years back for a while, and we're here in the Sacramento area where our hockey team is an hour and a half away. We have two football teams in the Raiders and Niners. They're an hour and a half away. We have a basketball team that's here in the local market, but we also have one an hour and a half away, which is the Warriors. And, your baseball teams, again, Oakland, San Francisco, hour and a half away. So your only major franchise here is the Kings. That is our team. And the amount of people that would walk through that LCS looking for Lakers cards and Celtics cards and Bulls cards and all the hot names, they were overshadowed.
That's when the team was terrible and had still been terrible for 5 or 6 years.
They're not collectible. People just don't care about the Kings in this local market collectability wise. Yeah, they were in the showcase and some people came in for them, but they would turn their attention to the other local teams from the other sports first. That's just my personal experience, having been in that shop a couple days a week for the better part of a year and a half. They just aren't that marketable.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm naive to other markets.
But I mean, that's the same way it is with the Timberwolves. Outside of Kevin Garnett, and yeah, sure, we have a couple really good talent in Wiggins and Towns. The Lynx are the more popular basketball team, and they're definitely the fourth in the market. Outside, the Vikings and Twins are going to fight for first. The Wild are third because Minnesota is a hockey crazy state, and if they do better, they might actually be a little higher. But the Timberwolves are legit the last team that we think about before the Minnesota Lynx. And, it might have something to do with having legit the worst winning percentage in the history of the NBA. But that would definitely be my pick. And not just because they're my local losers like the rest of my teams, but there's just everything going against them, I guess.
They have that long playoff drought as well, just much like the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those ones where it's almost a pick 'em. there's no real right answer, no real wrong answer there. The bottom 3 or 4 in the NBA are probably clearly the bottom 3 or 4, regardless of who you were to ask.
Yeah. And then we're going to move on to the least collectible NHL franchises of all time. We had 13 votes here. Now, this is the Arizona Coyotes, who used to be the Winnipeg Jets, correct?
Yep.
The Columbus Blue Jackets, who are an expansion team, which I don't understand why they have hockey in Columbus, Ohio. And then the actual the current Winnipeg Jets, who used to be the Atlanta Thrashers.
Yep.
And the Atlanta Thrashers were an expansion team because is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay. And then others. Others had 0. The Winnipeg Jets, formerly the Atlanta Thrashers, 15%. The Columbus Blue Jackets, 31%. And the Coyotes, previously the Winnipeg Jets, had 54% of the votes. I know nothing about these teams. I just looked up like bad records all time, and these teams kind of spoke to me.
I mean, had Gretzky not gone to the Kings, they might have been a choice. They've been better since, but for a 1992 podcast, Coyotes definitely. They're despite being helmed by the Great One, I think, at least in the ownership group. They're poor. They're in a bad market. They've changed their names a couple times from the Phoenix Coyotes to the Arizona Coyotes. Columbus, Ohio kind of makes sense for a hockey team in so much as Chicago and Pittsburgh do. That maybe Cleveland would have been a better market. And the Winnipeg Jets, despite being a Canadian team, the Atlanta Thrashers just tear them apart as and they're newer, and sure, they have some upcoming huge collectible players that I'll mention in a minute, but just their history in Atlanta, just poor.
Yes. Didn't their best player, Danny Healy, kill a teammate?
I think so.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah. See, I chose the Coyotes because of what Stefan mentioned. They're just a bad market. Look at the Phoenix Suns. Look at the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, it just seems like that state is more college than professional.
And the Diamondbacks only have one tops living.
Well, and then you mentioned hockey, and kind of humorably, Arizona does have a college hockey team now. But if you were to mention hockey, you wouldn't think Arizona outright. Now, sure, with is it Austin Matthews that came out of Arizona? Maybe they're making a push to be a hockey state, but you don't normally think hockey.
How cold do they have to keep it when it's 100 degrees outside that ice? It's got to be slush.
You would think so. And, maybe they do it more so with not ice skates, but regular rollerblades.
Yeah.
But it's not, you say Minnesota or Winnipeg, and you just imagine ice in the winter and everything else, whereas
the sun doesn't exist in those places.
Well, yeah, if we're going down to Phoenix, it's like, boys, what do we want to do? You know what we should do tonight? Let's go see a hockey game.
Let's find some air conditioning.
Right.
It doesn't spark.
My buddy lives down there, and he says even after the sun goes down and it's still 90 degrees, you live in a place that's really hot.
Yep.
That's scary.
And we get a bit of that here, but it's worse there. I used to live in Yuma, which is a little bit more south from Phoenix, right on the California-Mexico border, and it ain't nothing to mess with. That's nasty.
When you go from the Phoenix Coyotes to the Arizona, you're marketing to the whole state. Same reason that the Golden State Warriors are planning on maybe going to the San Francisco Warriors, the Angels, of course.
Sacramento Angels.
Yeah, and you're marketing to a specific region or the entire state as a whole. And that just reeks of you're reaching for anybody and anyone who will come buy a ticket from you and a beer and a hot dog. It's just when you do stuff like that, I get why the California Angels, hey, we're here in Anaheim. We're right outside LA. We're part of the LA market. We want that national recognition that we are LA. Not like, hey, where are the California Angels located to the casual observer? It's just it's bad marketing, and it says you're not going to be around long.
Yeah. So I was just watching the replay of Steve Pierce fall into the Astros dugout, and then the Astros kind of waited for a second, and then they went to help him, but at least they helped him up. We're going to go to our hockey expert now. So let me crank this up so we can get Steph in here again.
Yep.
Collectible hockey players. So I asked Steph to do a little research for me. I wanted like some collectible hockey players that have like 3 or less years experience. We get called out for not having enough hockey. I think this is the third show in a row we've talked hockey.
Second or third, yeah.
Yeah. So
That's a streak.
We're getting it in there. We're learning. Ben and I are
That's a
learning.
thing.
We know that there's a stick and a puck and ice.
Yeah.
So
We still need an
I-
expert to come on the show.
My favorite thing is trying to pronounce these names before
Go ahead,
the
Ben.
show and stuff, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to embarrass myself tonight. I did get two complete names right and a
But they're both
handful
cheating.
of first names right.
Because there happened to be a Bob Smith in the league.
Yeah, I didn't
Right.
even get one of the. No, hold on. I think I got all the first. Well, all but one first name right because there was a J where it shouldn't be a J. But anyway, so Steph, talk about these with the 7-8 guys here
Sure.
and who they play for and why we should look for them.
So I'll throw up my wild card first with William Nylander. Great talent, but he's currently at dispute with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Played out his rookie contract. They have the rights to him, but he refuses to show up for a contract renewal, and he's gone home to Sweden to wait out a trade or better terms. But I decided to pick one at each position as far as up and down the lineup for people that have had no more than 4 full years. The people that I chose kind of scattered on the teams, so it's a spattering of players that you guys can get used to. But at left wing, I chose Nikolai Ehlers. Left winger for the Jets. High talent. He played in 200 some odd games, got 162 points, 69 goals. So you guys can do the math on the amount of assists he has. Great talent. Hoses us every time we play him and the Jets. Indeed, he is a hoser.
Not confused with an Indiana Hoosier.
No, he does not play basketball. At the center position, I got Jake Gensel, 122 games played, 81 points, 38 goals. Great talent for the Penguins. He's not going to fill in for Sidney Crosby's production if he gets injured, but plays the same position. Pretty good goal scorer himself. Right wing, went with the left winger's teammate, Patrick Laine. Dude's really young, 19, I think. Scores and practically every time he touches the puck, just scary shot, kind of like a Vladimir Tarasenko, just a wild killer. 155 games, 34 points, 80 goals, if I can read that right, 80 goals. Pretty good goal scorer. On D is where I kind of cheated a little bit with the Sabres guy. You want to try pronouncing that again, Tim?
Rasmus Ristolainen.
Not quite. Rasmus Ristolainen.
Ristolainen.
Demon for the Sabres. He's played 4 full seasons, going into his 5th, but he's still only 23. D-man, you don't really get all of the goal scoring, but he has 151 points, 31 goals in 4 seasons. Not too bad. And like a top tier last name. So it's kind of one of the reasons I tossed him in. But the other one, Charlie McAvoy for the Boston Bruins, kind of stepped up huge for them. Last year's first year, came in, put up 53 points, 7 goals. Not bad. Goalie, again, I kind of had to go a little near that limit mark for what he gave me, but Alexander Vasilevsky, 85 wins, 49 losses, 11 overtime ties with a .917 save percentage. Not bad. Goalies kind of get the shaft in that it really kind of takes them a good couple years to hit that top level of play. I mean, if you look at even the Wild, Devin Dubnyk bounced around with Columbus, I think, bounced around with Arizona, and then came to us and just lit everything up since 2014, 2015 season. And That's just the way with goalies. They're not really collectible, but if you want that, you want to stick to the wingers and the centermen. Definitely, they put up the points, they put up the goals, and have the best celebrations outside of myself personally. I like the personality of the goalies. They're a little off. I mean, you kind of got to be to sit and catch 100+ mile an hour slap shots at you.
Yeah, definitely.
But
it's a playing catcher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But with less padding.
I don't know, man. Those catchers aren't wearing much either.
Yeah, but the pucks are a lot heavier, and they sting. You catch them up high on the wrist, that'll hurt.
And one of the best things to collect about these guys you want to look for is Upper Deck is has the exclusive license right now is the Young Guns in Series 1 and 2.
And they have the best rookie program where they don't get a card regardless of what set until they play a game.
And it's pretty simple.
Any of these players don't have their Young Gun until after they've played their first game. Now, if they make their debut on opening night, you'll probably see them in Series 2. Or their version of Update, or their the Cup. The Cup is a huge series.
Yeah, the Cup is super high end, right? And that's like where they have I think that's where it started with the cards numbered to the jersey number. So if they wore 1, they only had 1 card, or if they wore 99, they had 99 cards.
And yes, and they'll have the much better patches where they'll have like the team logo but cut into 4 pieces. And I've seen a lot of people trying to collect number 1 because they have 2, 3, and 4 to have that full patch.
Or the last names, they have like the nameplate ones. They always do a really good job with that. And those Young Guns are sharp. I mean, they really are. They're an insert card, really, right? And they're but they're you get them graded. I mean, you look at 9, 5s, and 10s of what those sell for versus a raw. It's insane, and it's not nothing. It's not numbered. It's nothing. Just a rookie card. It's like, it's just the one card that the collectors in the hockey world went after and said, this is the card that you want, and it's collectible. And really, you can get it out of a cheap pack.
You can go back to Lemieux and all of the others because Upper Deck's been doing those since the late 90s, as it were. And it's just the one thing that stood out that in most is considered an insert, but it's part of the base set. But they sell for a good bit if they're top graded.
Yeah.
So check those out.
It's still a collectible, easy to get card because you can get it in a pack. It's relatively a couple bucks, right?
Yep. $2-3. Same as a regular base set.
Yeah. So that's what I love. So we had a little hockey talk. We'll have more. I just want to get to our MLB predictions that we had. So real quick, Steph of the World Series had Boston and Milwaukee. Well, Boston's up 2-1 in the series, and they're up in the game tonight. Milwaukee's down 2-3 to the Dodgers. Ben had Houston and LA. So he's got LA up with Houston down, and I have Houston and Milwaukee who are both down. So, I guess don't take my advice in gambling. But I'm still for Houston and Milwaukee. You all right there, Steph?
I humor myself, went to eBay, did a search, Upper Deck, Young Guns, and sorted by highest. Canadian with bids, 40 watchers, 151,000 for a Black Label Pristine at Jack Eichel.
Ooh, and he was the second pick right after McDavid.
Yes, he was.
Eichel plays for the
Sabres?
Toronto.
Buffalo
Sabres, okay. Yeah, and they're a pretty downtrodden franchise for the most part, right?
They got a lot of top number 1 picks. It's just a matter of waiting a year or two, kind of like the Astros.
Yeah. Well, folks, this is our show tonight. A little shorter than normal.
One thing real quick.
Yeah.
I was on Facebook a second ago because I got an alert. And I was scrolling down, and in one of the baseball groups, one guy came up and said, hey, I want an Acuna auto. PayPal ready. Show me what you got. You want to take a wild guess how much he has PayPal ready looking for an Acuna auto?
$55.
$25.
Yeah, $20. He's like, show me what you got for $20. Everybody's basically saying, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Here's a base card.
Good times. Let's leave it on a laugh tonight.
Yes. Oh, real quick, that story I want to get to on a final laugh, the last mention for Brett and Becca. So he unblocks a guy on eBay to sell a card to. He said, hey, whatever. And he blocked him for non-payment.
And the guy begged him like 4 times, right?
Right. Begged him a bunch. Sells The guy buys a card for like $25. Like an hour or so later, has to cancel it because he's lost his job.
One of the responses I saw, and I don't know who it was. So if you're out there listening, I apologize, but he's like, maybe he lost his job for buying cards while at work.
Right. Yeah. Right now we have.
I just got what I got.
Yeah. So, listen, guys, collecting is for fun. Now, if you do it as a business, have a business plan and model. But if you have like a normal day job and you're just buying to collect and keep, like make sure you budget your money the right way so you're not hawking your family's mortgage or rent payments or food or gas or any kind of electricity, utility bills to go out and buy the latest Ronald Acuna.
If you ain't got money to pay for all of that, you shouldn't be buying cards.
Right? Yeah.
No, you need a business model. You need a business model. Need some help with a business plan. I know a guy. I'm always available to give advice.
I hear Ivan say personal financial advisor.
Is that what he calls himself? So, but I've got the experience and the degree and everything to back it up. So
anyway, I just want to say, guys, like, if you do this as a hobby, it's not to spend your last, we're going through your change in the car to get gas in your car because you went out and you bought a $600 box of cards and pulled nothing. Just be smart about it. We love you all. We want you to enjoy collecting and not, be sad or distraught by a bad purchase. We all have done that though. I bought enough bad football boxes since 2012, and that's why I stopped in 2015. But remember, we're here live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on YouTube. 10 Central, 11 Eastern.
9 Mountain.
9 Mountain. Don't forget Mountain.
That's the least collectible
time zone. Make sure to subscribe and review our show on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher. Let us know how we're doing.
Shoot us a message if you like.
I think on iTunes we were 5 stars and we had like 7 or 8 reviews. And so, hey, I cut that out, framed it, put it on the fridge, and my wife's like, "What's this?" and crumpled it up and tossed it. We appreciate the video today by Ichu Vault. Check it out. I retweeted, I believe, on the Twitter handle for About the Card. So we appreciate that, and I hope he enjoys listening to tonight's show. And you can always follow us on Twitter at About the Cards, and follow Ben at Our Trading Cards, and follow Steph at Junkwax Twins, and you can follow me at Big Chef 79. We really appreciate it. Lots of people ask us questions and advice and stuff because we have the show, and we'd love to share that. So if you have anything, ask us. We'll talk about it on the show. We'll chat online. We're pretty, I don't know, I guess pretty reachable and responsive. I would say we're,
2 of us are at least respectable when we respond.
Underhanded get by me, apparently. No, we enjoy the hobby just like everybody, and that's it. We all want the hobby to grow and see it live for our next generations, and that it's fun, and that's the main thing. The word above all else that this hobby should be is fun. And if you lose the fun out of it, probably time to move on to something else.
And we will have a LOL this week live on location, as I'm going to go to the Sacramento card show this weekend at Crown Plaza. So if you're in Sacramento in the area, it's at Crown Plaza on Date Drive off of 80 and Madison. Come and check it out. It's from like 9 to 4.
I'd come join you, but I've got a hockey game to go to.
Oh, okay. Well, don't be the goalie.
that whole drive. No, I'd love it.
And come and see me and hang out. I'm hoping to run into Brian Bice, maybe to do a little interview so you guys can get to meet him in person and to kind of show what the show looks like.
In person, huh?
In person, live, on location with Brian Bice, a.k.a. Bo Bice. Yes. He'll be there, he says. Anyway, well, guys, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us tonight on episode 18. We're allowed now to vote. And I guess buy cigarettes most places, I think, and buy scratchers and gamble. So we're on our way. We really appreciate you guys listening and hanging out with us every Wednesday. And we will see you next week. We'll talk a lot about update once we have it in our pretty little grubby, fat little fingers.
I won't have it because my stuff comes from Brent.
Well,
So I won't get it for
I'll
like 2
open the
weeks.
box.
Trying to get a last shot in there, huh? And happy birthday to the Earthquake World Series.
Oh, yeah. That was, we forgot 29 years ago, the Giants played the A's, and there was an earthquake, and the game was canceled and delayed 10 days. I was a small boy in Wichita, Kansas, and I was
You were a young boy. I don't know about small. Come
I was
on.
buying Husky
No, I think
jeans.
I was young.
I was a youngster buying Husky jeans at J.C. Penney's, and then we got in the car as the earthquake happened, and I was asking my dad like, "What?" And then my dad and I were glued to the news about the earthquake and all that stuff. And then about 6 months later, he goes, "Hey, we're moving to California, to Sacramento, which is like an hour and a half from San Francisco." So, man, I was super excited. Yeah.
Real quick reminder: our friend once asked about a Halloween episode, which we're planning on doing Thursday, November 1st.
Yep.
So we'll be a day off that particular week, and then resume Wednesdays.
We are.
Yes.
I gotta go
bag
get
snatching. I gotta go bag snatching.
I gotta go teach my 4-year-old about he's been eating my candy late at night, and so Dad's gonna teach him a really tough lesson. No, I'm serious. I wake up in the morning and I don't have a Hostess cherry pie. He eats my cherry pie the other night. And I'm like, "Why'd you eat it?" He goes,
"It's been."
I had 2 of them. He gave one to our friend. He gave my pie to another man, and then he eats the other one. He takes 2 bites, sticks it in the fridge, and doesn't think there's anything wrong with this. So I told my wife, I said, "I'm going for Halloween. I'm going as the IRS." And she goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Watch. I'll let him trick or treat, thinking he gets to keep it all, and then when he comes home, I'm gonna seize his assets, just like the IRS."
Jesus.
And with that, there's your family-friendly.
CPS is called. All right, guys, everyone, thank you again. Have a great night, and we will talk to you soon, live here on YouTube. And check us out on Twitter and say what's up.
And on
Okay,
location.
love you guys.
Have a good night.
Say it back.